Okay, everyone, welcome to this kind of impromptu last minute cast of the Arhod EU Round 3 game between Black Spike's Mercenary Corps and Varangian Guard. The Arhod EU this season is using a kind of impromptu last minute. Sorry about that. Like I said, last minute, getting all the stream settings correct, but this season, Arhod EU is using a Swiss pairing system, meaning that you will fight the person closest in record to you. So, at the start of the season, all of the matches were randomized, everybody fought. The teams that went up 1-0 then fought each other, then if a team was 2-0, they fought each other, and that's where we stand right now. I believe Varangian Guard and Black Spikes are 2-0 going into the third round, so they're going to be fighting each other today. Now, for the first match, we already had one launch, but it went to a redrop because there were connection issues. But it is on Alpine at 500 tons. And unlike some other leagues, the Arhod tournament is going to an 8v8 format this season, now that we actually have lobbies in. So for that 500 tons, it is actually one of the heavier drops in the 8v8 format, whereas it would have been one of the lightest in the 12v12. So at this point, I'm just waiting on confirmation from the teams about their status when they're launching into the next game. I'm going to be honest, looking at the teams, I know more about the Black Spikes team, having played against them with, well, half their members are members of the House of Lords and play for both EU Black Spikes and NA House of Lords. Notable ones there being Cafe Angst, Coburn, Proton, all names you recognize, but the rest of the team is also very good. My experience with Varangian Guard comes from the SJR EU, who played them, I believe it was in... oh, what was the name of it? Last Mech Standing tournament. Double elimination. And there was a bit of a rivalry going back and forth there in between the old SJR EU team and Varangian Guard. And Varangian Guard were actually the ones who started using the very heavy, very light compositions against us first, and forced us away from our more balanced heavy, medium, light drop decks. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they're running that here with 5 or 6 assaults and 2 or 3 lights instead of bringing mediums and heavies. But we shall see. So one thing different about this season of Arhod and other tournaments is that we do know which map we're going to be dropping on, and just looking back over the rules here, this is the first time Alpine has been played, so we may see some interesting strats out of both teams, whether it's ER large laser heavy, whether it's using ER PBCs instead of just regular to get that little bit of extra range. And your standard loadouts of just regular PPC and AC5s, you may find those being a bit short on reach and damage potential. Note that this is skirmish, so the I-9 hill is going to be very important to this fight. I should pull up a picture of this. 1 second here. Here, Smurfy. Okay, so skirmish. The Black Spikes are going to be spawning on the north here, and the Varangian Guard are going to have the south spawn. Now, the south spawn puts them a little closer to the I-9, gets them a much easier time of controlling that. If Black Spikes chooses to rush up, they may find themselves just under withering suppressive fire. And especially since the last patch, you can actually choose where your lances are spawning, so Varangian Guard is going to be pretty much guaranteed to have these two close spawns, and their response time is going to be much better. So the alternative for Black Spikes then becomes, do they want to hold out on Comms Tower and just turn it into more of a patient game? And that depends whether strikes are in. I need to confirm this with them, but I have a feeling they may have banned strikes. And if so, this is going to be a bit more standoffish. I'm wondering what... Oh, apparently they're already in the game and didn't let me know, so... Okay, hopefully we're not too far in here. Does look like we're less than a minute in. Let's have a look at what each team has brought. From the Black Spikes, we have 2 Dragon Slayers, 4 Cataphract 3Ds, and 2 Spider 5Ds, which carry ECM and are a little harder to hit. Especially on this map, the roll of a light is going to be a lot less, except in terms of just pure scouting. Simply because it's so spread out and so easy to cover your approaches that a light is going to have a really hard time getting in close and getting work done if they're more of the Jenner or Ember brawly styles. So let's fly over here and have a look at the Varangian Guard position. Varangian Guard are in red on our screen, with the Black Spikes in blue just holding back at the comms tower. Varangian Guard have brought an Ember, a Spider, 3 Dragon Slayers, a Cataphract, 2 Cataphracts, and a Shadowhawk. So they've actually just proven me wrong. They've gone for a bit more of the mixed drop deck, bringing some mediums and heavies thrown in there, whereas Black Spikes are the ones who've maxed a bit harder, going for 2 assaults, 4 heavies, and 2 lights. It does look like the red goes the faster from the Varangian Guard team is disconnected down in the hole here. So we're going to see if he can try to reconnect, and I'm going to keep an eye on chat. It's past the first minute, and there's been not a lot of fire exchange, but definitely some hits. Let's see what the teams are saying. Nothing, apparently. One thing to note from... Ooh, we have a toggle tags button. That's new. Nice new features of the Spectator cam that I wasn't aware of. They've even fixed it up so the teams are sorted on each side and nicely color categorized. Anyways, getting back into the action, it looks like Black Spikes have abandoned their position on comms tower. They're pushing up. It's perhaps they know from their scouting that the red goes the faster is disconnected, perhaps not. But they're feeling that the time is right for them to push up to the bottom of this hill and mount an assault. Varangian Guard, on the other hand, know that they're down Dragon Slayer, which is 80 tons, which is almost 20% of their drop weight in this game. And they're slowly giving way. The thing is that they do need to hold this very, very top of the platform here. Otherwise, they'll basically be driven into the sea and smashed. Not just that, but if they retreat too far, and the red goes the fastest, Dragon Slayer is discovered and killed, then they're down a kill, skirmish. If time goes, it's whoever's up on kills, so they would be forced into aggressive attack to try and get that kill back. As we speak, Black Spikes is moving up hard on the right side. They've got 1 Cataphract on the left, Abby just getting a bit of a flank and distraction, but their main force is moving up heavy on the right. They've got good angles over here onto Bugist in the Dragon Slayer. He's getting caught out down to 69%, while the rest of his team is over on the top of this plateau, and their angles aren't the greatest. They can only get those shots at the top, very top, of their jumps. So this right side approach is actually quite a good attack route. Abby's Cataphract, though, for Black Spikes is getting ahead of the pack. He's down to 49% and getting focused. Legged, it seems. Not legged, just quite crippled. However, he rotates to the back of the pack. Not in time, he goes down, while the rest of Black Spikes is pushing up. Though the integrity of this push isn't looking good for Black Spikes, they are down at least 3 or 4 mechs here. Only 4 left. Caffey Angst has a spider tying him up off in the back. And even though Varangian Guard were down a Dragon Slayer, they look to be coming ahead on this. Now it's just down to Coburn and the Slim Shady, a Cataphract and a Spider left up to try and pull this back. It's 6-2, 6-3 if you count the disconnect. But the Ember for Varangian Guard is still up, and he'll be able to run this Spider down and just wear him down. Sorry, quick correction, Coburn was also in a Spider. And with the Slim Shady, one leg goes off and the other quickly follows. Okay, so let's have a look at the end screen here. Does seem, judging by the damage, that Abby, the first Cataphract who pushed in for Black Spikes, was focused pretty hard, and he wasn't able to get a lot of his damage potential out. And the Cataphracts following him also didn't have the greatest amount of shots, only pushing about 140 and 200 before they got taken down. Caffey Angst was on the back, and he actually lived for quite a while, but the Spider, who is it here? Nostris for Varangian Guard. He got on top of Caffey Angst and was tying him up and kept him out of the fight. And even though he lived the longest out of all of the heavies, his damage wasn't biased. So very well played to Varangian Guard, taking that even though they were down to Dragon Slayer.
User left your channel.
Sorry, gonna mute TeamSpeak sounds.
Insufficient permissions.
Or just fail miserably. Well, that match does kind of show just how difficult it is to assault the I-9 position. Just with the high ground, even with a good angle that they took, isolating the Dragon Slayer on the left side and quickly taking him down to sub 50%, they were not able to overcome the positional advantage there. One thing to note was that they had quite a bit of regular PPC and AC5s, so I don't know if that was the best choice for this map, and what if they would have been better off served going with, say, ER PPC, PPC, Gauss on those Dragon Slayers instead. Because although once they got in range, it would have been more DPS, having that extra range projection would have allowed them to put a little bit of hurt as they close the distance, and perhaps encourage Varangian Guard to keep their heads down, instead of peeking out and getting the damage on the leading members. Also just realized my stream delay is completely fucked. I am so sorry. 1 second, guys.